Hey everybody, hope you guys doing all right. So this early day, something came upon me to look into gravity, and so as I did so, some things came out of me that I want to share with you guys. So here we go. Gravity is said to pull things in, yet our magnetic field literally deflects things, meaning that there is a force pushing slash radiating energy away from our planet, moving things in a perpetual way that is not towards the core, but actually more towards space. Things fall not because there is a force pulling on them, but rather because they do not have enough energetic propulsion within themselves to produce lift or movement in relation to the current atmosphere slash area they are occupying. So again, things fall when they enter an atmosphere or get near an atmosphere because, unlike space, which is essentially devoid of radiating energy, and thus, a space that's not near stars. Like when you get near stars and stuff, it's really the stars' energy that's affecting you. But essentially, just being out in the middle of like outer space, like away from planets and other gaseous things and stuff like that, you're essentially just floating in a void of it's not even floating. It's floating denotes some type of a lift. It's just existing in a place that doesn't have its own perpetuating motion. Now, if that object has had something that put it into motion or has a device that allows it to propel itself, then that's different. And you can travel further in space, and it's easier to travel in space because there's not as much friction. But that's because the friction is determined based upon the atmosphere and the atmosphere of the particular area and the atoms of that area and all the oxygen, the elements, the water, the creatures, the materials. All this stuff is all information, energetic patterns that have a force of their own, a force field, essentially. Whereas in space, you don't have these things. It's more of just like an open, they call it a vacuum, but it's not even really a vacuum. It just doesn't have, it's more like a blank canvas, like a painting. Painting that had a canvas that has not been painted on is just something that's open. You can easily put something on there and there's going to be a sharp contrast because there's nothing else. Whereas a painting is literally you taking paint onto a canvas and you're putting contours and specific patterns and angles and information onto the canvas, therefore giving its own unique energetic frequency or piece of information or art. So, and each art has its own feeling or energy associated with it, and that feeling is also relative to the person and how they perceive it. So the same thing is true with spacecrafts and people and objects and things. When they get near a certain atmosphere, an area, or a planet, they're going to interact with it in a way that's different based on their own unique personality or energetic makeup. So meteors and spacecrafts could be essentially crash, not because they're being pulled in by gravity, but because they enter an area that's alien to them, and if they don't have the right type of energetic makeup to allow them to create lift and to move around in a good way in that area, they're not going to be able to move very well, and thus they will crash or fall to Earth. But it's not because gravity is pulling on them, it's just because they're in a misalignment with the current area and atmosphere that they're in. Does that make sense? Okay, so all right, where was I? So yeah, atmospheres are literally areas with atoms. The definition of an atom is a particle that consists of a nucleus, of protons and neutrons, surrounded by an electromagnetically bound cloud of electrons. So when entering atmospheres, you're entering an energetic realm, and in that realm there is a specific type of atmosphere based upon the conditions of the area. And so in order for things to move and keep moving in an atmosphere, they need to be at a certain energetic frequency that allows lift or movement, and this differs based on the condition of the area and one's own ability to move in that area and what makeup they have. So in space, things float. Now again, that word float, I've since, I don't want to use that anymore because float to me denotes some type of a lift, whereas in space, it's not so much about lift, it's about one's own inertia or ability to create inertia. So it's a little different. All right, so moving on here. So because there is nothing perpetuating movement, essentially, unless you're near a star or some type of other object that is perpetuating movement, but space in itself is relatively neutral. From what I know. I'm still learning these things, though. This is coming to me, and I'm just sharing it as it comes. So things can move in atmospheres because there is something creating movement, but how well or fast one is able to move depends on that object's ability to create movement within itself and its ability to interact with the area around it. So, all right, I'm going to make a second video to continue on. I love you guys. Hope you have a good day. Bye.